up?
Furiously.
Yes.
Vocabulary refers to knowing the meaning of words and is critical to successful reading comprehension. Building vocabulary involves teaching your learner how to figure out the meaning of words while reading. It also requires selecting and studying the meanings of individual words and parts of words. It's important to relate these vocabulary words to learners' current and prior experiences to help cement them in their word bank. You'll see a learner and a tutor working with new vocabulary words in several ways to increase the learner's word bank. Strategies you'll see include copying sentences from the story that contains vocabulary words, writing new sentences on index cards using vocabulary words, rereading text to check for improved comprehension, practicing words with flashcard drills, CLOZE, a fill-in-the-blank activity.
Since we've gotten all of the definitions down on the back of our cards, what I'd like for you to do is to find the sentences in the story here, and on the back of your card, find a sentence that contains the word furiously, and under the definition, your definition that we wrote down here at the top, write down a number 2, and then copy the whole sentence from the story that contains the word furiously, just exactly as it's written down there. So next, what we're going to do is, since we've got your definition at the top on the back of this card that says lightning, and we have the sentence from the story, now what I'd like for you to do is to write the number 3 and now make a sentence of your own using the word lightning. What would you say about lightning?
I like the thunder and lightning.
Perfect. Write it down. Now that we've worked on this for a while, and we've got all our cards, each one has your definition on it, and we've written down the sentence from the story, and also a sentence of your own. So after all this work on these words, do you think you have a little bit of a better understanding of each one?
I think I do.
You think you'll be able to get more out of the story now that you know what they mean?
Yeah, I would have to say yes.
Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and read through it one more time and see how much more of it you understand than you did when we went through the first time.
Okay.
Don't forget the title.
Okay, the title is Hands. The crowded bus comes to a stop. The woman next to Rosa cuts furiously as if she is trying to kill something before it kills her.
Okay, so there were a couple of words that we read that meant a little something different from what they usually mean. They were
Furiously.
and what was the other one?
Lightning.
Yeah, so they talk about the woman next to Rosa cutting furiously and her lightning movements, right? She wasn't angry when she was cutting furiously, and there was no lightning in the building, so what did her movements look like? Her furious lightning movements.
Someone cutting faster than they normally would, like, you know, like instead of like being at home, you know, holding it, palming it in your hand, she's probably just real quick.
Yep, assembly line style.
Assembly line style.
All right, so next up, Dave, we've gone through all the different ways of going over the words that you chose from the story. When we've got our flashcards, we've got our definitions, we've got our sentences. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your flashcards and we're just going to quickly look through them, and I want you to read the word and then give me the definition just right off the top of your head. First up.
Lightning.
What's it mean?
The weather, thunder and lightning in the sky.
Okay, in the story, what did it mean?
In the story, it was a little different. It was moving fast. The lady was chopping, and she was chopping real fast, like lightning.
Lightning speed, yeah.
Lightning speed.
Okay, next up.
Furiously.
Yes, and what's it mean? Ooh, We got to revisit this one. I'm going to check on the back of the card.
Yes. 1, moving.
Much faster than one normally would. That's your definition,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So wow, so as for furiously in the story, what were they talking about?
The speed in which they were chopping.
Yeah. So it wasn't mad, it was...
Just moving quickly.
Exactly. Okay, so the reason that we go through these cards, and we'll go through them a couple times more, just to make sure that all of these words you know the definitions of without having to think about it too hard. But the reason we do this is that when you get to know these words and you don't have to work at decoding them, they become automatic. You see them on the page, you recognize them, you know how to pronounce it, you know what it means, and it perfectly fits in with the rest of the story. You don't have to think about it. It's just an automatic thing. So we're going to review these cards a couple of more times and make sure that you have all of these definitions down and you can just see the word, have the definition for the word right off the top of your head so that when you read it, you don't have to work at it anymore.
Got it.
All right? So what I did was to make up some different sentences using the same words so that we can be sure that you recognize these words when they're not just in the original story that we read. We will fill in the words from here up at the top, the list of words that works best in the sentence that I've got written down here. So
She scribbled furiously in her notebook. Then,
is that then?
when a thought came to her with, so
Okay,
furiously.
there you go.
In her notebook, when a thought came to her with
Blank speed.
lightning.
All right, good.
Vocabulary is critical to successful reading comprehension. Exposing a learner again and again to new vocabulary words in a variety of reading materials and contexts supports vocabulary development. Developing background knowledge and a strong vocabulary is key to reading well. For this reason, it's important to explicitly and regularly focus on vocabulary development with your learner. You've seen a tutor do quite a bit of talking when explaining a new strategy. During most lessons, you and your learner would be equally talkative.